one request before the ceremonies get underway. I think all of us have at least one of these. I don't want to see any of these during the ceremony, neither does Nicole. As you can see, we've got some incredible videographers and photographers here. They don't want your phones in their photos, and I know Emily and Don don't, so please keep your phones away. Thank you.
Like the frost on a rose, winter comes for us all. Oh, how nature acquaints us with the nature of patience. Like a seed in the snow, I've been buried to grow. For your promise is loyal, from sea to sequoia. I know, though
Welcome, family and friends. You may be seated. You guys made it here. You ready? Okay. We are gathered here today to join Donald Castellucci and Emily Lapham in holy matrimony. For all of you wondering, yes, there are two of us, and no, we have never done this before. If anyone knows Don and Emily, you know that they can be quite extremely type A. And if you didn't know, the multiple emails and calendar invites for this wedding, I'm sure, gave it away. That is why I was so surprised. They didn't even ask us to see the script ahead of time. In all seriousness, though, we are both truly honored to officiate the wedding of two of our dearest friends. We will begin with a reading from Emily's godmother, Lizanne Soder.
From Beginning to End by Robert Fulghum. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you have been making promises and agreements in an informal way. All those conversations that were held riding in a car or over a meal or during long walks, all those sentences that began with, when we're married, and continued with, I will, and you will, and we will. Those late night talks that included someday, and somehow, and maybe, and all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all those things we've promised and hoped and dreamed? Well, I meant it all, every word. Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another: acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, and even teacher. For you have learned much from one another in these last few years. Now you shall say a few words that take you across a threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these vows, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, this is my wife.
Thank you.
For those that don't know me, my name is Nicole, and I've been getting mistaken as Emily's twin since we met on the high school basketball team in 2008. It was hard to pick just a few highlights of our relationship because Emily has been a constant over the past 14 years. Through every life milestone, every joy, every heartache that life has thrown our way. Although we may not be biological sisters, we are a chosen family. I'm not married, so I will not pretend to know what advice to give on marriage. But what I can say is that God created us for intentional relationships. Whether friendships or marriage, the people you choose to surround yourself with will define the trajectory of your life. Or as my mom likes to say, you are who you hang with. Your chosen family demands intentionality. I am blessed to have a friend like Emily that is deliberate in developing and growing herself. Through purposeful friendship, we have shaped each other, sharpened each other into better versions of ourselves. I had the privilege of watching the early days of Donald and Emily's relationship when we all lived together in DC. the period of life I must now reference as the good old days due to their decision to move to beautiful Colorado, but I digress. I could not have asked for a better partner for my best friend. You have supported my friend while she pursued a second degree during a global pandemic and through this past difficult year for the Lapham family. And Don is also deliberate about everything he does and is always seeking to grow as a person. And I don't mean just with race times, but in all parts of his life. Don and Emily developed their relationship intentionally, just as they do all other aspects of their life. Making it to the altar together today was not a result of happenstance, but a result of honest intentionality with each other. A conscious choice to wake up each morning and choose each other, to believe in each other as individuals and what they can become together. As both of you embark on this next chapter of life as a married couple, as each other's chosen family, I pray you keep perspective on what is important in life and do not lose this intentionality with each other. Let your marriage be an example to others, that of God's love and intention with each one of us. I truly believe a measure of one's life is not through accolades or accomplishments, but through the quality and intentionality of their relationship with others. I would now like to invite Caroline Porcello, a friend of the couple, for our second reading.
An extract from Winnie the Pooh by A. Milne. If you live to be 100, I want to live to be 100 minus 1 day, so I never have to live without you. Piglet sidled up to Pooh from behind. Pooh, he whispered. Yes, Piglet? Nothing, said Piglet, taking Pooh's hand. I just wanted to be sure of you. We'll be friends forever, won't we, Pooh? Asked Piglet. Even longer, Pooh answered. If ever there is tomorrow when we're not together, there is something you must always remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. But the most important thing is even if we're apart, I'll always be with you.
Thank you, Caroline. That was beautiful. You've already gotten a sense of Don and Emily's personalities and intentionality just from the readings that they've chosen. My name is Nate. First, a friend of Don when we met at the U.S. House of Representatives in the gym. Later, a friend of Emily when she picked up Don from the airport with a cup of Compass coffee and drove him to the now infamous Ray Celeste birthday party of 2019. I love that individually, Emily and Don are two whole people, confident, wonderful, and driven people with an incredible network of support. But as they spent more time together, they saw how one can make the other better. What a beautiful thing when you join with a person who constantly improves the whole you that you already are. And that's what you all have been invited to experience today. The coming together of two whole people, two whole hearts, for a lifetime of wholehearted love. Wholehearted. As I tried to think of a word to describe you individually, I arrived at the same word for you collectively. Wholehearted. Don, Emily, for nearly 30 years, you've given yourselves wholeheartedly to a vast array of things. Your family, your friends, your passions, like running, basketball, or literally optimizing how you spend every moment of your life. Today, you are making a very public declaration that you're giving yourselves wholeheartedly to something else, something new, loving each other. While running, basketball, and the latest scheduling tool will begin and they will end, your wholehearted love for each other will remain. The Greek word telos does a much better job describing what this means than any word I can think of in English. Telos is often used to mean end, but it actually has no finality. It's not a dead end. On the contrary, it's full of life because it carries a sense of completion and contentment, the satisfaction of doing what you were called to do, and the fulfillment of being who you were always meant to be. The telos of a marathon runner is to complete the race, training body and mind to achieve a physical feat that few can comprehend. The telos of the Los Angeles Lakers is to produce championship basketball teams, while the telos of the New York Mets is to remind humanity of the proper lower places in the divinely blessed order of things. That joke was originally supposed to be about the Jets, but they won today, so luckily, I just changed a letter and it still worked. The telos of today, this wedding ceremony, is to love each other lavishly and wholeheartedly as God loves you. Love is what we were made to do. Love is who we were meant to be. Love is what we're honoring today. One of the first verses of Scripture children learn is John 3:16. For God so loved the world. Before you share your vows, and yes, that's coming in just a minute, I'll prep that. I think this is a good place for us to remain for that minute, to find the telos of this moment. John 3:16 said another way, for God so loved creation wholeheartedly. God empowered you to love your enemies, to love each other, and yes, even to love yourselves wholeheartedly. God's love is free and abundant. It's unconditional and infinite. Your telos, my telos, all of our telos is love. God gave love to you to give away. The same way you've lived your lives individually, you will now live together wholeheartedly.
Emily and Dawn have chosen their own vows, which they will now share with one another. Emily, go first. Yep.
Dawn, first of all, thank you for letting me go first. We all know I wouldn't have made it otherwise. Dawn, you always remind me to think about what I'm grateful for. And today, I must say, I'm incredibly grateful for dating apps, government shutdowns, quiet coffee shops, marathons, and many other things my younger self never would have thought would have contributed to me meeting my life partner. Ever since that first date on a very, very, very cool day in Arlington, I have felt both safe and at home, as well as energized by what we could do and be together. I still remember the first few months like they were yesterday. I never understood what people meant by when you know, until I knew. The endless miles running around the monuments at sunrise and walking through them at night. Sneaking out of work for midday coffee dates at Compass. Switching off cooking dinners in our cramped kitchens, asking so many questions because there was so much to learn about one another. While life has changed quickly and much since then, I know I will never tire of miles, coffee, and conversation with you. What I love most about you can be best described through running as a metaphor for life, of course. And for anyone who is taking bets on the number of mentions, I really hope you took that over. Life, like running, can really be broken down into 3 types of days and moments. Easy days, workouts, and long runs. You are my person through all 3. You are my favorite person to spend the easy days with. The everyday, boring little things. The 10-second hugs, crosswords in bed, post-run smoothie bowls, making each other late to work because we need to discuss our latest idea right now, sitting across from you on that first date in your Marine Corps marathon sweatshirt that you were in because you, quote, thought about putting something nicer on, but didn't think it was you. I realized I never would have to doubt your authenticity. Second, you are my rock during the workouts or the hard days. Running by my side the last few miles of a race, managing life on the road together, preparing me for tough interviews and tough conversations, learning to translate what I'm saying through my tears, This includes the leaps of faith, like deciding to move across the country together after just a few months of dating, and traveling just us and our Subaru across the country twice. Through all the hard days, I've admired your ability to just make a decision and go for it, nicely complementing my endless pro-con lists. And lastly, most importantly, I know you're there for the long run. The unexpected, life-changing moments. The big cross-country moves to new cities where we do what we can to live out the life we envision together. While today we are making it official, we have recommitted to each other over and over through what has been a trying, demanding, rewarding, and magical 4 years so far. From this moment, I promise to walk or run with you through life and create space and time to put our relationship first. I promise to savor the little moments and never to let us go too long without dancing in the kitchen. I promise to say yes to type 2 fun, to jumping in every alpine lake and at least attempting to climb every peak. I promise to protect you from the danger noodles and the geese if you protect me from the bears. I promise to continue growing in our faith, in our relationship, and as individuals. I promise to love you fiercely, both when it feels like we are walking on clouds, but most importantly, when we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. I promise to communicate by listening first and to continue working on my patience. And lastly, I promise to, every time you walk through the door, even when it happens 5 times a day, go literally insane with joy. Dawn, over the past 4 years, you have been everything I could have asked for. You have been my confidant, my quarantine buddy, my running partner, my debate partner, my biggest fan, and the love of my life. We have run nearly 1,000 miles side by side, thank you Strava, traveled to 25 states, experienced 13 national parks, shared 4 homes, and eaten a lot of burritos. Based on how it's gone so far, I'm pretty stoked for what's to come. With you, life somehow feels like a grand adventure and being at home all at once. I'm so excited and proud to be your wife. I love you.
January 21st, 2019. A frigid winter day in Arlington, Virginia. I had just gotten back from a disaster of a trip in Switzerland. According to your dating profile, you seem pretty low-key. An athlete who loved morning runs, you were headed to your next national park soon, and you had this infectious smile through all your photos. We talked about college hoops, our own running, and politics for nearly 3 hours over one very cold cup of tea. You didn't even correct me once when I continually called it the Fry Festival instead of the Fire Festival after having watched the documentary on Netflix. From your back on my feet volunteering to your passion for running and adventure, things just felt right from the beginning. That feeling was quickly confirmed when on our 3rd date, we went bowling. We were about halfway through the first game, and I was well on my way to victory when I turned to you and I asked, "Am I supposed to let you in?" The look of utter disgust that was on your face told me a few things that I quickly learned. 1 was your competitiveness, and 2 was your belief that a woman needed no help from a man on the road to success. 2 qualities I love in you to this day. Oh. But Emily, I must say, when I found out you were running a minute plus faster on your easy days just to hang out with me, I both smiled because you were making that sacrifice for me, but also wanted to scream that your easy runs were not easy at all. Thank you for being the best partner that I could ask for. And not just partner, but running pal, travel buddy, consultant, for our lives and my work, kitchen partner, dog mom, race crew, latte drinker, and so much more. We've had our welcome to Holland moments, the ones where you expect life to go one way and God throws you a curveball. Through each of these moments, I've loved being able to grow stronger together as a team. I've learned all about holding two seemingly contradictory ideas together at once. How it's okay to be happy and sad at the same time. How something or someday can be so joyful, but also hold anguish. It turns out life is really one big marathon. It will never be good all the time. It can't be. And when it hurts, it can really hurt. I hope you know that through the good and the bad seasons, that is no longer you nor I separately, but us together to get through it. Emily, there are many things I love about you, some of which I've alluded to, but to make it clear, I love your intelligence. May you continue to challenge me to think differently and ask tough questions. I love your work ethic and all you do. May it continue to help you grow and inspire others. I love your sense of adventure. May it carry us into uncharted territory. I love your planning abilities. May we continue to not understand what spontaneity means, but maybe one day find it. I love your aptitude for grammar. May I continue to make fewer mistakes around me. I love your compassion. May it guide us in how we live our lives and support others. I love your understanding. May you never lose it, especially when I fall short. I love your support. May you use it to lift up your friends, your family, and us. And I love your optimism. May it uplift us through the hardest and toughest seasons of our lives. As I was preparing for the vows I wanted to make to you, which haven't technically started yet, I guess, I wanted to share some lyrics that kept jumping out at me. As you know, I love expressing emotion through song lyrics. And these lyrics kind of talk about the finality of life and the importance of our time together here. So, from If We Were Vampires, if we were vampires and death was a joke, we'd go out on the sidewalk and smoke, and laugh at all the lovers and their plans. I wouldn't feel the need to hold your hand. But maybe time running out is a gift. I'll work hard to the end of my shift and give you every second I can find, and hope it isn't me who's left behind. I promise to always save one run a week for us to share miles together. I promise to be your support crew and your cheerleader on every adventure. I promise to always read the instructions, because one of us probably should. I promise to continue researching if it is indeed better to do your dishes throughout the day or save them for the end of the day. I promise to always consult you about when my tummy hurts, read off everything I've ate for the last 24 hours, only for you to astutely point out it's the 6 shots of espresso before noon. Emily, I promise to always quiz you on your college mascots, UC Santa Barbara.
Vanessa.
There we go. I promise to provide more words of affirmation, because I know I can do more. Emily, I promise to challenge you in supportive ways so that we continue to grow and improve together. I promise to keep an open mind, listen more, and ask questions. I promise to give you everything of myself, to never expect perfection, and never stop working on us. And until our time runs out on this earth, I promise to love you with all my heart. To whatever may lay ahead, may we run through it together. I love you.
Okay, we've got them both. Mikey with the double win. All right. Donald, please take the ring you've selected for Emily. It's the smaller one.
Still read this.
Donald and Emily, you have for each other a ring. This most precious of metals symbolizes that love is the most precious element in your life together. The ring has no beginning and no ending, which symbolizes that the love between you will never cease. You place these rings upon each other's fingers as a visible sign of the vows which, this day, have made you partners. Wedding rings are made precious by our wearing them. Your rings say that even in your uniqueness, you've chosen to be bound together. Let these rings also be a sign that love has substance as well as soul, a present as well as past, and that despite its occasional sorrows, love is a circle of happiness, wonder, and delight. May these rings remind you of the vows you've taken here today. Donald, as you place the ring on Emily's finger, repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Emily, please take the ring you have selected for Donald. As you place it on his finger, repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Now that you've exchanged rings, Nate and I would like to read one final passage before closing in prayer. For those that are familiar, we will be reading the Message's contemporary interpretation of Colossians 3:12 through 17.
So, chosen by God for this new life of love, dress in the wardrobe God picked out for you. Compassion, kindness, humility, quiet strength, discipline. Be even-tempered, content with second place, quick to forgive an offense. Forgive as quickly and completely as God forgave you. And regardless of what else you put on, wear love. It's your basic, all-purpose garment. Never be without it.
Let the peace of Christ keep you in tune with each other, in step with each other. None of this going off and doing your own thing. And cultivate thankfulness. Let the word of Christ, the message, have the run of the house. Give it plenty of room in your lives. Instruct and direct one another using good common sense. And sing. Sing your hearts out to God. Let every detail in your lives, words, actions, be done in the name of the Master, Jesus, thanking God the Father every step of the way.
All right, the couple would like friends and family to extend their hands toward them as we close this ceremony with a prayer and blessing. So please extend your hands towards Don and Emily now. Lord, would you take these two and make them one? Would you look with grace on this daughter, this son? O God of creation, create again one heart where there were two. This is the prayer we lift to you. Amen.
We're almost there. Before God and these witnesses, you have expressed your love for one another and pledged to be joined in marriage.
It is now our great pleasure to pronounce you husband and wife.
You may kiss your bride. for coming. We would love for you to join us downstairs in the lower level for the cocktail hour.